Hi, my name is Vanessa Lech. Today's video is going to be a part of this ongoing video series about the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs and the topic for today, and by the way, this may be triggering some of the, sorry, I dropped what I needed, my paperwork. Some of these videos may be triggering, so disclaimer, FYI. Anyways, also want to make sure everyone knows I'm not a lawyer. I never went to law school. I'm not licensed as a lawyer. This is not legal advice. And this does not establish a clinical relationship with anybody at all, ever. Okay. Anyways, so the topic for today, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs and my ongoing experiences with them, past, present, etc. And do bazillion videos on this last podcast because there's just that much content to cover. Okay. So anyways, I sent in some paperwork to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs a while ago. I can't remember how long ago. It's been a while, at least a month, two, who knows? I can't remember. And that paperwork was not acknowledged. They did not read what I sent in to them, and which was incredible, actually, to me. I really couldn't believe it. And, I just somehow always seem to overestimate the VA and its affiliates, which I'll get into in the videos. But because I just think that, well, if I sent paperwork, they surely would have read it. They'd surely look at it, but they didn't. They didn't read it. They didn't even care. And so, I was like, all right, okay. So I got this letter and they're blowing me off, and they clearly didn't read what I sent, and they're saying I need to send what I already sent. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. Okay. All right, weird, but okay. And so then I didn't know what to really do. And I started just basically trying to troubleshoot the situation myself. And I'm sure I contacted the VA and asked questions. And I called the White House Hotline Veterans Experience Office, VEO, for the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs hotline. And their menu is the only menu at the VA, from what I can tell, that actually works to get a human being promptly, which is amazing in and of itself. I hope that they figured that much out ever. And, then I got a troubling message the next morning that was an automated email where they copy and pasted the same letter that had been sent to me in the mail, clearly just blowing me off and giving me the runaround and not paying attention to anything I said to the person that was working at the hotline that I know recorded what I said in a written statement. And then also I know those calls are recorded. Okay. So that was deeply troubling. So then I called the hotline, the White House hotline again, Veterans Experience Office, VEO, U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, which I have increasingly mixed experiences with because I use it so much. And the person really wasn't listening to me. That person had a real listening problem, which is the exception, not the rule. The rest of them are not like that in my experience ever. And so that was deeply upsetting, actually. And I concluded that phone call as a result because I was like, wow, I'm not even listening. I ended up calling back later, and that person did listen, and they reopened the situation for me. And so that was pending. It takes a very long time these days to try to get the hotline that I just mentioned to address anything. I think it's because they have so many complaints about the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs from veterans and God only knows who else. And so then I was, not really quite sure what to do. And I'm sure I thought about it. I'm sure I tried to troubleshoot it. And I ended up filing a congressional complaint through this person's office. And to be clear, this is not a political endorsement. I have not had a chance to review this person's voting record at all, or congressional legislation that they may have written, introduced, voted on, voted against, but whatever. I have no idea. They may have voted on and created things I'm totally against. I have no idea. This is not a political endorsement. But I went to the people. I looked up the representative for the area that I'm in, which is the middle of nowhere, by the way. And I located this office and their office staff, who were very kind to me. And I'm very appreciative of that. And unlike a lot of congressional reps who are totally useless, by the way, most are, I should know, got a lot of experience in that area. They were not useless. There's a very nice lady who's super committed to helping me out. And so she went ahead and we talked about what was going on in the situation, and gave her the necessary information and forms, and completed, what I needed to complete. And then she contacted the VA like she said she would. And they gave her the exact same copy and paste answer that they'd given me in mail and an email. But she was like, wow, okay, so that they just did that. She's like, they give us the runaround more than I like to admit. It's like, well, fantastic. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, I guess, does that to everybody. So then technical issue. Anyway, so she escalated the issue, the lady at this person's office for me. And then I swear to God, I think it was like a couple of days later, I get an email from her and I talked to her briefly and they read what I sent them and they did what they needed to do. And just like that, it was fixed. And I was so amazed because most time we do these congressional reps office, they don't care. I mean, they just don't care. Most of them don't care. They get into office, they're happy they're there, and that's it. It just starts power tripping after that. So I was just really grateful that they actually, not a political endorsement, but this office staff actually helped me. I'm very grateful for that. It was very helpful. But the point I'm making with this is that it's very sad that veterans have to file congressional complaints because the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs refuses to acknowledge them, to read a letter, to be user friendly, to not be a labyrinth and overly complicated. And we just want to raise awareness about that because you should not have to file a freaking congressional complaint to communicate with the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. That should not be required, but in some cases it is, and it's totally unacceptable. All right. If you like this content, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video, follow the podcast. The podcast is absolutely everywhere. I'm going to keep doing videos like this forever, most likely. I'm super committed at this point. I should have been doing videos like this sooner and indefinitely. Okay, I wish you all the best. Bye.